I don't know if he deserved the trip. For me, it's basically a free trip for him. But
Yeah.
having said that, there were some good inclusions that I fully back. Like for example, I did not anticipate.
All right, guys, welcome to another episode of The Yorker. I'm glad to talk to these guys again, Rinat and Alfie. So, welcome, guys, for yet another one. And I kind of missed you. I missed your opinions and all your insights about the game, and particularly as it pertains to the Bangladesh team. So, the squad has been announced. And one other thing is from here on out, we'll just talk about the World Cup and we'll call this the road to the World Cup 2019, England, Wales. And so the squad's out, but it was kind of expected, don't you think so? Not too many surprises in there. How do you how do you feel, Alfie?
Yeah, I think that, it was, I would say that I was very worried, like what the squad was going to be, who was going to get picked, who was going to get left out. I think that it pretty much was as the selectors had been saying that they weren't going to make too many big changes. There was not really any room for any newcomers. Um, so that was pretty much the case. There was I think, one real big surprise inclusion uh, in the squad. Overall, I would say I'd give it like a B. If we were going to give it like a letter grades, A, B, C, D, more like 4 out of 5 marks for the squad that's been picked. Uh, so that's I'll let Renat talk a little bit more, and then I'll get into the details.
Right. Well, let's get into the details then, right? And then you can carry on because you summed
Yeah.
it up pretty well.
However you
Um,
want to do it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I thought them to fail even bigger, So there was no major disappointments, to be honest. The ones that I am disappointed about, and let's get into it specifics. I would say that for me, the biggest disappointments was Liton Dash and Mehdi Hasan Miraz. But then those two, we were, even though I was disappointed, I kind of knew that they were going to get picked regardless.
Mhm.
So
Were those your two biggest contentions with the picks so far in the squad of 15?
I would say so. I mean,
Yeah.
if I look at performances, Liton and Miraz are probably the two guys that least deserves to go go to England, based on their performances. I don't know. I'm not going to talk much about potentials, but just based on performance alone, Liton specifically, I don't know if he deserved the trip. For me, it's basically a free trip for him. But
Yeah.
having said that, there were some good inclusions that I fully back. Like for example, I did not anticipate Abu Zaid going to England, and I'm really happy to see him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something the selectors doing right. Usually they go for experienced players. Like I was afraid they were gonna go for Schofield.
Schofield.
Thank
Yeah.
Thankfully they didn't do that. They made the right call there.
He's a backup. I just read a
That's
thing
fine.
by
That's
Courtney
fine.
Walsh. Yeah.
Well, Task
Uh,
backup as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
right, right. No, but the backup is a different story, and we can get into that later.
Yeah.
But overall, I think the squad's good. Musaddiq was a good inclusion for me. If they can play him at a spot that suits him, I think he is a good inclusion.
Yeah.
I hope they don't repeat the mistakes that they made last time they had him in the squad of playing him as a finisher. But other than that, I think pretty impressed with the squad. This is probably the best possible squad we could go in with.
Yeah.
So it's gonna all come down to the senior players, the established players performing or not. Uh, Other than that, I'm pretty happy, and I'll let Roey go in a little bit too.
I mean, from a historical point of view, normally when a squad gets announced, in Bangladesh's case, there's a big uproar. It happened in 1999 when Minhajul Abidin he was excluded, and then there was a big fuss. It happened in
Yeah.
2011 as well with
And,
Mushrafin.
and Minhaj Al-Din he's the selector. He's the guy that picked this squad.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
It happened in 2011 with Mushrafin as well. But this time around, really, the only thing you could say is the Baskin exclusion, but he doesn't have that, like, no one's backing him that much where they're causing that much of a big fuss as it was before. So it's a very settled squad. You have four guys who have played 3 World Cups before. This will be their fourth one, so extremely experienced.
yeah.
And I was looking at something, I was reading that there are some injury concerns, though, because Saifuddin, he's one of the new faces in. He has a tennis elbow, so he's right now recuperating from that.
Hmm.
There's Rubel, he's also kind of recovering, and he's never 100% fit. I'm not sure if you noticed that about Rubel. He's never total. He's always one of those guys. He plays a series, he gets injured, then he
Yeah.
prepares for the next one.
Right.
Mushraffi seems to be fit, but other
Yeah.
than him, and Mustafi's, he also had an injury with his ankle, I believe, and
Yeah.
he's also recuperating. So again, the backups might come in handy, and right now the backups are Taskin and Shofiul, but there's still a month to go. First, we're going
Yeah.
to play the Tri Series, of course, and then we're going to play the World Cup. And I feel like that's going to be a platform in the Tri Series, and based upon that, they're going to pick their 11 for the World Cup. That's how it's shaping up. That's how it's shaping up to be.
Yeah.
Uh, and I know Alfie, you like Mossadegh a lot.
Yeah.
I like him too, not as much as you, but I
Hmm.
like him for the fact that I'm a big fan of Nasir Hussain, and I always felt like after he was gone, there was a kind of gap in the team, and we can use someone like him. And for that reason, I love Mossadegh. I feel like he's an excellent, like, that type of player who could give you something with a bat, he can give you something with a ball,
Hmm.
and and
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm glad. I was really worried they wouldn't pick him. I was hoping that he would have some nice performances in the DPL, and he's done okay in the Dhaka Premier Division. His average is fine. He's playing that finisher role. He's batting at 6, 7, 8 for Abahoni, but his strike rate is low. It's actually really low, and I think it just reinforces what Rinat was saying was that if he gets picked, he needs to bat in the top 5. He can't be batting at 6, 7, 8, and then expected you know, to do the job. Um, I think what's going to happen is Mitun is going to get. He's going to be starting in the first game in the first few games, so he'll probably be batting at 4 or 5. He's probably going to be batting at 5. And if Mitun fails after, let's say, 3 games, then I think Mossadegh would be the one coming in and replacing him. That's what I'm predicting, and I hope that was that that if Mossadegh plays, he needs to be playing in the top 5. That's the whole point that I would definitely agree with Rinat. So
I think
um,
I think the general theory is going to be that Mossadegh is being picked for games where we feel like the conditions are going to be a little more friendly to spin.
yeah,
Now, having said that, knowing Bangladesh and their think tank, they're gonna play. There's a really good chance they will play 8 batsmen
mhm,
if Shakib is playing. So basically, I also see Mossadegh as a replacement of Saifuddin in a few games. Like, that's what I think that's what they're thinking. That's just my guess.
yeah,
Because they're gonna want a batting attack that they feel can score 300 plus.
yeah,
Well, and to be honest, I'm not a big fan of that idea. I'm not a fan of playing 8 batsmen or 9 batsmen to score some runs because then you expose the other end of the game completely. There should be some kind of balance. But overall, I think he's a really good backup. I don't know if he's a good enough starter. He hasn't played international for a long time,
yeah,
but he is someone that if he gets picked, even after 2 years of not playing international cricket, he won't be terrible, right? He will contribute, like Roey was saying, he'll contribute one way or the other, and
yeah,
sort of justify a spot. So I think he's good as a backup. I don't know if he's good as a starter, But other than that, I think the tri-series is going to be very important. Again, that's what Roey was saying, is
Yeah.
that we have two guys that are being picked, which is Yasir Ali and Naeem Hassan. Now,
Right.
these two are probably the next batch of most exciting guys for us to come. Uh, one as a batsman, one as a bowler. And I think there is a really good chance that, when if Leighton and Yasser gets all the games, if he performs Leighton, then there is a good chance they may get rid of him because, as the Bangladesh Cricket Board president indicated that they could make changes after the
Yeah.
tri-series. And I think that's a good thing. I think some of the fringe players like Shomo, like Leighton, these guys need to be on their toes and they need to take the preparation very seriously. And if they don't perform, it's only fair. We need to go in with the best possible combination we can.
Yeah, I think I totally agree. One of the things I'm kind of thinking is I think based on some of the other squads that have been selected, I think I'm getting the feeling, I don't know if you guys are going to agree, that I think we might be a little light on the spin bowling because in terms of specialist spinners, we don't have a single specialist spinner in the 15. Miraz is, if you include him as an all-rounder, and then Shakib's an all-rounder as well. Now they're both pretty handy spinners. Like at least Shakib is a world-class spinner, just as a spinner goes. So he can count as a specialist spinner. But I think that we're a little bit light. And of course, we've been hammering this point that we don't have a wrist spinner, whereas every other team has a wrist spinner. But what do you guys think about that? And I think Roey wanted to say something. So
yeah, I mean, just for the reason you laid out, for that reason, I was sure Miraz would get picked because without him,
yeah,
we'd be even thinner, right? Without Miraz.
yeah, oh yeah.
So that's why, if you remember, Rinat, we were chatting earlier, and I told you that I don't care what you say, but they're gonna pick Miraz because that's his role.
Yeah.
Like that's what they're trying to get him to do. Even though,
Well, yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think that, from the last several series, we had a very good idea of who was guaranteed a spot, who's guaranteed a ticket to England. And Miraz was definitely one of them. Saifuddin is one of them. And really, Leighton and Shombo after the Asia Cup. But Leighton, he had it even in the Asia Cup. Leighton's been in the ODI team for a while now. So I think that those guys had their tickets pretty much finalized, got their visas, everything, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The question marks were: is Thaskin going to make it in? Is Mossadegh going to make it in? Is Shofield going to sneak in somehow? I'm trying to think who else, etc.
Yeah,
But
there was a lot of talk. There was a
even
lot
in
of
the
talk
last
about
couple
Yasser
series,
coming in too, right?
Yeah, this is the way I see it, Alfie. Spin's not our strength at the moment. It's not. We always ride out Shakib. He's all we got. Miraz doesn't give you much in ODI. I feel he's a better test bowler.
We have a one-dimensional spin attack especially in ODI cricket. It's basically just based on containment, and in that regard, I think Miraz does a pretty good job. How is it going to do in the World Cup? It really depends. It really remains to be seen. I think that there's a chance if Miraz bowls all 10 of his overs up front, but there's really no need for Miraz to be bowling beyond the 20th over. If he's bowled, well, he wouldn't be opening in England. But have Miraz finish his quota before the 30th over. He comes in, let's say the 11th over of the game, he should be done by 30 overs. There's no need to have Miraz bowling, especially if he's bowling well. If he's not bowling well, it's a different story.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. I just feel like he's going to get exposed.
He might. All of our bowlers may get exposed. I mean, this is the World Cup. We might be seeing 350 being the average score in every game, batting first. So, in that regard, I think a lot of bowlers are going to get exposed. But again, we have to play with our strengths, unfortunately, and it's unfortunate we didn't groom a leg spinner for the last 4 years. We thought we had one in Jubair Hussain, but he hasn't played since before the last World Cup. And he should have been playing, and I don't know what happened. They say he was lazy. His fitness wasn't that bad. Maybe he was lazy. I don't know. We don't know the players, but he really should. We should have found somebody.
I think spin is too much of an X factor for us. We don't know what we're actually going to get, but we can actually predict our pace department, like how they're going to do. We can have a conversation on that.
Well, here's the thing, right? I mean, if you guys look at the last New Zealand series, and it was supposed to be seam friendly, we went in with a full seam attack, and we were unsuccessful. No, it didn't work. The seamers were not effective at all, and I think we all know why. You look at the players like Mashrafi and Mustafiz, their bowling is better suited for slower surfaces, right? Or slower pitches. It suits our conditions more.
Mm.
And then you have Rubel, which again, which is what you said, is that his fitness is always an issue. So you right off the bat, you write off almost three of these guys, and then you have Saifuddin, who has very little experience, right? He is someone that needs to be used very smartly in order to be effective. You can't just put him wherever you want and expect him to perform. So I don't know if this was the smartest call to not go in with a frontline spinner. I mean, I don't even care if it was another conventional slow left armer. But if you think about it, even someone like Taijul had a good chance of going at 5 and over versus a seamer who may go for 7, 8 and over, right? And on conditions, what we are anticipating, I think the bigger factor should have been to go for bowlers that can contain runs rather than pick up wickets, right? And I think we are going to be a little short on that in terms of run containment. I don't know how well Miraz is going to do, but I think since he is picked, I hope he gets to play, because otherwise I don't even know who's going to bowl some of those overs,
Well,
especially against lefties.
I think our team is designed around run containment, and I think we did pick the best run containing bowlers we could find. Fast bowlers, you have Mashrafi on his day; he's a decent run container. Fizz, and then you have Shakib, and then you have Miraz. Um, so four of the bowlers we picked are probably four of our most economical bowlers. Um, Rubel's probably been picked because of his wicket taking ability. Um, and then, Abu Jaid is picked solely for one reason. We're expecting that the ball may swing, and he's the only one swing bowler we have in the country. So I think that was a good pick. If he can be the Bhuvneshwar Kumar of Bangladesh, I think that's. I agree with Rinat. I think that was a bold selection.
Yeah,
It was an out of the box selection. No, nobody anticipated him being picked. But I think that it was a good pick. I mean, he might end up being horrible, whatever chances he gets, but at least it shows that there was a logical plan behind selecting him. You know,
right.
something beyond, well, we picked Abu Jaid because he's the complete package, or we picked him because he asks good questions. So
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
There are only so many spots, right?
yeah,
Which is why it's really important once you get into the team, the Bangladesh side, you prove yourself. And I
yeah.
feel like Rubel is one guy who's been there for like 10 years now. And I don't know, do we call him a legend at this point? Like, has he done enough for the team? Like, this could be his tournament. If he can support Mashrafi and Fizz up front,
Mm,
because I feel like we will be exposing our bowling. So we have to kind of overperform. We could live with our batsmen underperforming, still touching 300. We could do with that. But if our
yeah,
bowlers don't bowl to their ability, I feel like we're gonna get taken to the cleaners. That's how I feel about this World Cup. You know?
yeah, yeah.
So,
I think that's
and
very much a possibility. Yeah,
and I think we're also relying too much on Shakib, to be very honest. I mean, I hope he performs, but then he has been out of the game for quite a while now. So for him to come in and act as the main specialist spinner in conditions that are not going to suit him, I don't know how well he's going to do. So I'd be wary of, if they're planning to go into the games with only one specialist spinner, and with that's Shakib. It might be a huge gamble, at least initially.
no, I think so.
Shakib is one of the players, though, that I mean, at least in the past, regardless of how much training or how much game time he's had, he comes right in and he performs at a very high level. So I'm
Well,
hoping
yeah,
that
yeah. Let's hope so. Yeah, yeah,
he'll be able to get into that groove. The other thing is we really only have to compare our spinners to the other spinners in the World Cup, especially from the better teams. How are those spinners? How are the Kuldeep Yadavs and the Yuzvendra Chahals? How are those guys doing? And then see how our spinners are doing. If those guys are going at 4 and over and picking up 3 and 4 wickets per match, and our guys are doing really, really bad, then yeah, it's going to be a bad tournament. So
Right.
we have to,
Right.
because it might be that all the spinners are getting taken to the cleaner in these conditions. We know that the boundaries will be pretty small. Every spinner might be going for 6 and over. So in that case, if our spinners are going for 6 and over, I mean, then that's fine. We just have to make sure that the batting is going to be able to score the runs that we need.
Yeah.
That's ultimately
Yeah.
what it's going to come down to.
Yeah. How do you guys read into the comments of the selectors that they've been saying that we have a shot at going to the top four? Like that's what Nanu said, that we have a chance if we apply ourselves. And Bashar said that there's no lobbying, no one can lobby for a spot. I mean, I think that's pretty much understood by us. You can't. This is the World Cup. I mean, you either perform. If if there was legitimately a player out there in the circuit who could help us improve, then we would keep him on the squad. That's how it is. We wouldn't abandon him. So everyone
For sure.
deserves a shot. They're in. Even yesterday, he wasn't in the 15, but he's in the 17-man squad in the Tri Series. So they're
Yeah.
all in. Naeem is in, and maybe Rinat, we talked about the spin problems. If Naeem does really good in the Tri Series, maybe he could come right in, even to the
Mm-hmm.
11, and
Mm-hmm.
then that could help us. But everyone's in. This is our shot. Uh, what was I saying? So, what do you think of the management saying that we do have a chance of getting into the top four?
I think we do. I think we have a chance of getting into the top four, and I think that the players need to believe that, fans need to believe that, because if
They,
we don't, then there's not really a point in us showing up to the tournament. We're not a team
Yeah.
that is only playing in their first or second World Cup. We're just happy to be there.
belief is
I
very. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
no,
I'll try
not
to
at all.
forget this point I made about Tamim. So belief is very important, but then Tamim
Mhm.
said that believe in your players, believe in the squad chosen, but don't criticize us or we'll get disheartened. I don't know about that. Like, that shouldn't be the attitude. We should be able to criticize you, and you shouldn't get disheartened. You should still, have the mettle to go out there and perform. Yeah,
Mhm.
Alfie, come in. What were you saying?
I mean, that comment, I mean, I don't really, I mean, he probably just said that is probably just a kind of a knee-jerk kind of thing that, maybe Bangladeshi people say or something like that. Maybe he got lost in translation.
Could be.
But
Uh,
as far as
I
getting
th-
into the top four, I really think we can, because I think that there's going to be room for one team with 5 wins to qualify for the semifinals. Because let's look at the math here. We have 9, everyone's playing 9 games. If let's say that even the best team is going to lose at least one game, highly likely. So there's an 8-1 team. Let's say there's a 7-2 team, and then a 6-3 team, and then there's going to be a 5-4 team. That's the top, provided that nobody's tied on points and whatnot. So I think that there's a possibility that a team with 5 wins can qualify for the semifinals. 6, I think you're guaranteed a spot in the semis. 5, I think that you have a shot. Um, there's 4 very winnable games that we have: Afghanistan, Sri Lanka, West Indies, Pakistan. And then if we get one upset, like we get normally every tournament, that's 5 wins right there. But that just means that we have to be at the top of our game. We can't lose any of these, of those winnable games that we normally do lose. We lose one of them. So I think that that's a good thing that whoever said it. I think that I totally agree with that. Rena?
Hmm.
well, yeah, I think they're supposed to say that, right? It's what you said. Like, a selector, when he's announcing the squad, he is supposed to say, yeah, this is the squad that we feel like
Yeah.
is gonna make it to the top four. And then there's this other part where this World Cup again. It has no freebie teams. Think about it. Every
Yeah.
team deserved to make the World Cup.
Yeah.
So everyone realistically has some kind of a shot. And we are also one of the teams that, made the direct qualification. So,
Hmm.
we should be at that top pool, that top six, one of those top six teams to win the World Cup. So, there is no reason to write us off and to make it to the semis. I want to go back to what Tamim said really shortly, and I think Tamim is also supposed to say that. I think he is a senior guy. I don't think he was saying anything for himself. He knows he doesn't need the backing up of
Yeah.
fans, right? He is a pro. He's, if not the best batsman we have in the side, and the
Yeah.
most dependable. I think he's saying it for those other guys like Lito and Shomo, and I think it's a really good thing he has done. You know,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
he has called the fans, which we know can get, we can get pretty restless.
Brutal. We're the most
Yeah.
brutal fans. I've been
So
to
it makes
these
sense.
forums. Yeah.
Yeah, so it makes sense. It makes sense for him to call the fans to just be patient, because this is a time when we should be, and we can criticize all we want, but the squad's announced now, and the players that are in, we're gonna back them up. Like, I am gonna back up Liton no matter what, right? Even though I think he doesn't deserve it. So I think it's a good thing. Overall, I think that atmosphere is looking pretty good. The think tank so far has done things in the right direction.
Right.
Planning seems to be right. The senior players, the ones that were injured, are coming back. I didn't see Mushfiq or Riyadh rushing back to playing Dhaka Premier League. You know, they're taking their time, which is really good. And the players that are fit, like Mashrafi, again, they're not taking break from the game. They're trying to keep up with the rhythm. And it was really good. I was surprised to see Mashrafi playing the entire tournament. And and I think that was really good, because I think he may have been one of the biggest factors of picking Musaddiq, right? Because he has seen it. He has seen Musaddiq play with him throughout the tournament, and I think so. It's a good thing. I think everything seems pretty positive right now.
Yeah.
It's just, we just have to see that whether how much nerve these players are going to have going into the World Cup, because other than that, talent wise, experience wise, preparation wise, we should be as ready as we have ever been.
Right. Um, it's one of the things. It's a long tournament, so even if we don't do so well in the first 2 or 3 games, there's time to rebuild some momentum. But having said that, there's also, like Rinat said, there's no weak opponents.
Yeah.
We don't have a Netherlands or a Bermuda or a team like that to really be like, oh, okay, well, we have a guaranteed win there.
Right.
All 9 teams can beat us on their day. So we have to, and the players need to believe that, and I hope, it would be great if Ireland could beat Bangladesh in the tri-series in one game, because the players wouldn't be complacent. We have a problem with complacency. So I hope that, that's one thing. And the second thing is that I hope that, we stay away from the injuries and all that stuff. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we do have a problem with complacency. Like you saw in the series versus New Zealand, that they didn't mind too much, judging from the body language. They lost all 3 ODIs, and they didn't care at all that much, I felt. So they could, so they have to be on their top of their game, I feel like, in England from game one. Game one, pretty much, everyone. And I feel like I agree with you guys. Some really good things can happen if the juniors and seniors, if they're fired together. I mean, that's the scenario we, unfortunately, for whatever weird statistical, just, I don't know if it comes down to statistics or something, just one of those odd coincidences that they never fired together. But imagine if they do. Imagine if they do. If Lito Shomo, and also I can pick Mushfiq and Mahmudullah. If these 4 guys all score like 450 plus, you're looking at a 300 plus score. And then our bowlers are going to come in, and Mashrafe, he can make it a close contest, even though the other teams are really good too. So I feel like we had a nice conversation, and as we get closer to the World Cup, we might pick the 11 and talk about other things as well. Talk about the tri-series, but this was the start. So thanks, guys, for joining in, and
no worries.
We'll do this again.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.